Hi guys, so for today, let's go over an article that I read online that tells the tale of a US Army soldier who gets revenge on his unfaithful wife while he serves in Iraq. It begins with her not wanting him to depart since he is being deployed. They want to live cheaply with one of her friends while paying off their debt so that they may start a family when he returns. After a few months while he is abroad, he begins to notice that she suddenly seems more distant. She is less eager to converse with him. She sends him 1- and 2-word messages in response. Then he learns that she is cheating on him. This man is currently in Iraq, where anything might happen and result in his death at any time. She is still living at home and cheating on him while living off of his earnings. I've heard several accounts of this happening frequently to young service members who are stationed abroad, and so it appears that it really does happen to young guys in the military. This is how the story starts out. The guy says that he's in the army and that he's married. He was approaching his first deployment to Iraq, and that was a stressful situation because there was a chance he might not come back. His wife begged him not to go, but being in the military, you're not trained to back out if you have to go to a volatile country. He says he and his wife planned to have kids and start a family, but only after they paid off their debts. To help with that, they decided that while he was away, she would stay with a friend and pay a small amount as rent so they could save and pay off their debts. After 2 months of his deployment, the guy starts getting 1- and 2-word replies from his wife, and he senses that something is off. Guys, always remember, watch what a woman does, not what she says she'll do. Focus on how she behaves during happy times. Focus on her behavior during times when she's stressed. Focus when she's angry, annoyed, or irritated. Focus on what she does when she's guilty. That's where you can figure out her true nature. And if a woman who's generally conversational over the phone, during calls, or on texts, suddenly stops responding to you like the way that she always has, there's definitely something wrong. She's either guilty of something or she's hiding something. It can also mean that she's just busy. But if she's just busy during the day and still misses him, she'll still reply properly at night, and vice versa. She's not just going to change the way she speaks to you. Remember this point. One day, she texts and says she needs some space from him. The guy asks why, and she says she needs time to find herself. The guy then recalls that there was a man who was always trying to pursue her for the longest time and trying to talk to her, and almost being borderline inappropriate. The beautiful girls usually seem to have that one guy who is like that, and of course, they always have a lot of blue pill males who are eager to step at the moment a guy makes a mistake. This is what he says next. I'm not a very jealous person and I trust her, so when I notice the set guy in practically all the pictures she posts in a group on social media, obviously everyone else changes with each picture, but never him. I become very jealous and uneasy about everything for the first time, so I clone her phone so I can read every text she gets as well as every text she sends. I'll never forget the first text I saw after cloning her phone, which said, "Hey darling, I'll see you after work. Want me to spare you any leftovers?" It broke my heart. I dropped 35 pounds in a week while staring at the phone, not eating or sleeping, and listening to every discussion as they discussed attempting to conceive. I asked her if she was seeing anybody, and she replied that she wasn't. So he asks her if she's cheating on him. Obviously, she says no. Then the guy spends the next 2 months sleeping on it, with his suspicions, and then asks her again, and she says yes, she is. She goes on to say that the other takes good care of her, treats her right, and is basically everything she's ever wanted in a guy. She's basically living off of his earnings while he's thousands of miles away from her, and she's also cheating on him. Luckily, they managed to pay off their debts during this time. But now the wife's with her lover, getting matching tattoos, going on dates, and having a great time buying new clothes with the husband's money, while he's heartbroken and miserable in a war-torn country thousands of miles away. This is when he decides to get even with her, so the guy has his friends call the restaurant where both she and her lover work. In retaliation, she calls his command to complain about him, but his commander doesn't do anything about it because he knows his situation. Then, a month before he returns, she contacts him from a different number to inform him that she is pregnant. In the military, if I remember correctly, they all have a code that they shouldn't mess with their families, and anyone who cheats on his wife or doesn't treat her right gets in trouble. They're all about having order and discipline on and off the field. She calls him when she's 5 months pregnant and tells him that she's leaving her boyfriend because they had a fight. He tells her to take a hike because that's not his problem. She calls him again sometime later and tells him her boyfriend hit her, and she doesn't know where to go. She says she also found out that the boyfriend was cheating on her and that she was sorry for everything and wanted him back. He then shares that the woman, who he divorced before she got pregnant with the other guy's baby, ruined his life and put him in depression. He says that he was happy that he wasn't with her anymore and that she really got the full force of karma. He also shares that he asked her to call the cops on him when she told him he had physically assaulted her, but that he definitely didn't feel any responsibility towards her because of everything she did. So that's the whole story. The fact that these young men are deployed and that their lives are at risk all the time, and then they have to deal with stuff happening back at home is just really overwhelming. At any time while they are away from home, their wives are having extramarital affairs and spending their money on men living in their homes is extremely awful. And I hear this all the time. Even though it's a pity, he surely exacted revenge on her. Forever, justice has been done. I sincerely hope that this person puts his life together and unquestionably gains wisdom from this trying experience. She's stuck with the baby in the meanwhile, but it's evident that the mother found another guy to take care of the child. So here's the key lesson to learn from this story. I'm sharing this so that you don't ever come into a situation such as this. First, don't rush marriage. Marriage is a huge responsibility. Make sure you're completely ready for it. Make sure your to-be wife is completely ready for it, because marriage is not easy. It's not like when you're just dating someone. It throws tough battles towards you that you have to fight on a daily basis. It shows you sides of your partner that you will have never seen before. It shows you sides of yourself that you hadn't known even existed. And if you do get married, make sure that you set up your expectations right at the beginning. Make sure you don't marry someone who doesn't know how to handle stress and someone who will constantly seek attention from other men. She should know that marriage is a lifelong affair where there will be good days and bad days. Marriage is a tough life choice and shouldn't be taken lightly. More than often, marriage destroys relationships that exist between couples for years. It has ruined the lives of many men, and that is why so many men are going their own way now. That's it for today, guys. See you later.